I was 28 when I found out my father had a second family. Not a fling, not some long-ago mistake. An actual, full-fledged second family, kids, wife, everything, while still living with us. And the worst part? He was good at it. My name's Aaron. I grew up in a nice house in a quiet suburb outside Seattle. My parents were still together, even if they didn't exactly act like newlyweds. Dad worked in tech, lots of business trips. Mom taught literature at a local college. I thought I had a pretty normal life. Boring, even. Until I got a text from a number I didn't know. "Are you Aaron? I think we might be brothers." I thought it was spam. I blocked the number, but they sent a photo next. Two boys, maybe 12 and 9. And my dad, sitting in the middle, arms around them, smiling like he belonged there. It wasn't an old photo. I could tell by his graying hair, by the shirt I'd seen him wear just last month. I didn't reply. I didn't sleep. I just stared at that picture for hours, feeling like my lungs were collapsing. The next morning, I called in sick to work and drove straight to my parents' house. My mom was out. Dad was in the garage, tinkering with his car like nothing was wrong with the world. I showed him the picture. He looked at it, didn't flinch, didn't lie, just sighed and said, "I figured this would come out eventually." I didn't yell. I couldn't. I just asked, "How long?" 15 years, he said. They live in Spokane. I see them once a month when I'm in Dallas. Their mother's name is Julia. I couldn't breathe. "Does Mom know?" He looked me in the eye. "No. And I need you not to tell her." That sentence, that request, broke something in me. He wanted me to lie to the woman who raised me, the woman who still kissed his cheek every morning. I didn't answer him. I just walked out. But as I drove away, my phone buzzed again. "I'm sorry to contact you like this. I just needed to know if we're family. My name is Caleb. I'm your brother." And I realized this wasn't about just my dad anymore. This was about all of us. I don't remember the drive to Spokane. All I remember is gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. I told my mom I was going on a solo weekend trip to clear my head. Technically, that wasn't a lie. I was driving straight into the part of my life I never knew existed. We met at a public park. Neutral ground. Caleb was already there, sitting on a bench, nervously bouncing his leg. He looked younger than I expected, 21. Thin, cautious, like someone who'd spent too much of his life watching people instead of trusting them. He stood when he saw me. We didn't hug. We just stared. "I almost didn't come," I said. "I almost didn't text," he replied. He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. Our dad. Same damn smile. Standing next to a girl, maybe 16. My sister. Her name's Eliza. So it wasn't just Caleb. There were 3 of us. 3 kids with the same man, raised in 2 different worlds. He asked what I wanted to know. I said, everything. And he told me how our father had been with their mother, Julia, for over a decade. How he'd always kept one suitcase packed, business trips, just like with us. How he'd promised he was working late, but really, he was at my house, being a father to me. They knew about us. Julia knew. Eliza knew. Only Caleb had never been able to live with it. He said, I always felt like a secret, like I was Plan B. I didn't know what to say, because I was Plan A. When I got home that night, I sat in my car for 40 minutes before going inside. My dad texted me. Did you meet him? Are you okay? I didn't answer. Inside, Mom was cooking. She smiled when she saw me. How was the trip? It was quiet, I said. And I hated myself for lying. But I hated him more for making me choose. 2 days later, Caleb messaged again. There's more. You should meet our mom. You deserve to hear it from her, too. I said yes. Not because I wanted to, but because something inside me had started to rot, and I needed to know how deep it went. Julia lived in a modest 2-story home on the edge of Spokane. It wasn't fancy. Nothing like the life my dad built with my mom. But it felt lived in, warm. Photos on the walls, worn out rugs. And in most of the pictures, he was there, smiling, present, real. Caleb opened the door. She's in the kitchen. I don't know what I expected. Maybe someone cold, bitter, manipulative. But Julia looked kind. Tired, maybe, but kind. Aaron, she said, her voice soft. Thank you for coming. I nodded. I didn't know what to say to the woman who shared my father's life for 15 years and was, in her own way, his wife, too. We sat. She poured coffee. Then she pulled out a box. Inside were letters, photos, receipts, airline tickets, proof. that he had split himself across 2 cities for almost 2 decades, that he had kept Julia and my mom just far enough apart that no one would ever ask the wrong questions. "I didn't know about your mother," Julia said. "Not at first. He told me she'd left him, that you lived with her, but it was complicated. He said you were in the past." I swallowed. "He said the same thing about you." She laughed, bitterly. "Of course he did. She showed me a Christmas card from 3 years ago. Him, Eliza, Caleb, wearing matching sweaters. I'd gotten the same card. Different photo. Same signature. 2 lives. 1 lie. Perfectly maintained. I should have walked away," she said. "But I had Caleb, then Eliza. And he always made me feel like I was the real family. Like he was stuck with the other one. I didn't want to believe he could lie so easily." I looked at her, and for the first time since this all began, I felt pity. Not rage. Not betrayal. Just sorrow. Because we were both fooled. Different homes. Same pain. Later that night, I stood in front of my childhood home again. My mom was watching TV. My dad wasn't back from Dallas. Same routine. Same lies. I sat next to her on the couch. "Mom," I said quietly, "I need to tell you something." And when I told her everything, her hands began to shake. Not because she didn't believe me, but because she already knew something was wrong. She'd known for years. She just never had the proof. When I told my mom everything, she didn't cry right away. She just sat very still, like something inside her had shut off to keep her from breaking in half. Then she stood up, walked to the sink, and vomited. I'd never seen her that way before, so small, like the air had left her body. When she finally spoke, her voice sounded years older. "How long?" 15 years, I said. She nodded, wiping her mouth. I always wondered about the trips, but I told myself not to go there. I thought, if I ignored it long enough, it would go away. But it didn't. It never does. My dad came back that night. I was still there. He walked in like nothing had happened, briefcase in hand, fake fatigue on his face. Then he saw me, and he knew. Mom didn't say a word. She just handed him a box. Inside were pictures, notes, a copy of Caleb's text, and one of the Christmas cards, the same one he sent us and Julia, signed with "Love from your only family." He didn't try to defend himself, didn't lie, didn't even raise his voice. He just said, "I love both of you." That sentence made my mom's face twist into something I'll never forget. "You don't know what love is," she said. "You just know how to perform it." Then she walked out of the room. The divorce happened fast. It turned out she'd quietly saved enough to walk away when she had to. I helped her move into a small apartment closer to her sister. I never asked if she missed him, but I think part of her mourned the version of him she once believed in. Don't we all? As for me, I kept in touch with Caleb. Even Eliza, though she's still figuring it all out. Sometimes we meet halfway for coffee. We don't talk about him much. We talk about music, our jobs, dumb shows we both like. We're building something new, quietly, carefully. And my father? Last I heard, he moved south. Julia left him too. Turns out you can only live double lives for so long before they both fall apart. People always ask, what would you do if you saw him again? I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'd just look at him. The man who raised me, lied to me, broke every part of us. And think, you could have had one real family, but you built two fragile ones instead. And now you have none.